a former SNOA member of Crew 10. He's also MIBT, and he's going to lead today's breakouts general session. And so let's give a round of applause for Tim Kiefer.
Yeah, I'm good. I know how to do this. This is the same stuff as we have at my new school, so yeah, it works. All right, we're up there. All right, so thank you for the opportunity to speak. For those of you who don't know, I was in Vegas, this area of the SNOA, for 4 years, and had the opportunity to work with Crew 10, but worked with a lot of different people just through how it normally works back and forth. MIBT, I'm sure you guys have heard of that. We hosted the 7-person mechanics clinic for the playoffs last year, so you got to see a little bit of that if you were a playoff official. And I will say this, for those of you who are subscribers to MIBT, thank you very much. We really appreciate it. Our whole purpose is to make the game better through you, the official. That's our mission at the high school level. For those of you who had the opportunity to work college and maybe even higher than that, you know that the resources available to college officials and so on are enormous. There's money that's thrown into this. Well, we felt a long time ago that a high school official should have some similar type of training. So that was our whole basis for starting what we did. Do me a favor, though, if you are a subscriber, like I said, thank you. If you're not, check it out. But at the very least, go to our YouTube page. We post 1-2 videos a week, completely 100% free. And right now, we posted a video this morning I did. It's about a new technique that's going on, about where it's been taught. I was asked from coaches across the country about it, where guys are trying to punch the ball out. And you might say, well, they've been trying to do that for years. Well, now they've kind of changed the way they were teaching it to more of a punch. So we talk a little bit about that, about how to look for it and decide. Because sometimes this is one of those things where the powers that be have to make the decision as to whether or not how it should be handled, whether it should be a DQ, a UNR, or just a talk to, or whatever it might be. Obviously, if they hit the ball, you're good. But after that, things get a little gray. So check out that YouTube video. There's a lot of good things in that. Now, today, what we're going to talk about specifically, though, is hopefully this will turn back on. Let's see. We'll try this again. There it is. All right. So the board asked me to cover a couple things. Specifically, there's 2 topics, and we'll get to a third if we have some time. The first topic is ineligibles downfield, and then the second topic is going to be about offensive and defensive pass interference. One of the things about ineligibles downfield, this is a call we get wrong about the same amount of times that we get right at all levels, believe it or not. It's getting better at the NFL, it's getting better at college. But in the last few years, this was one that we would screw up a lot, especially at the high school level. So how do we do that? How do we make ourselves better in seeing this? Now, here's the thing that sucks. How many officials do we have at the high school level? 5. And now, at the college level, 7, 8, or NFL 7, they're screwing it up sometimes. Now we're expected to get it right with 5? Well, there's ways to do it, and there's things that we can do as officials to put ourselves in the best position to be successful. So I want to go through a couple plays that will kind of illustrate this, and you'll be able to see, some suggestions on how we can go about this. All right, so we can see on our first play, what I want to just kind of notice where our line of scrimmage is. Now, in high school rules, there is a 2-yard expanded neutral zone. So that means here, I can have linemen in this 2 yards. The SNOA has asked you to add another yard there just to make sure. So now, 2 yards, but really kind of 3 yards. So that's kind of your line. If they go past 3 and that you have a pass in the air, we might have a problem. So just kind of keep that in mind as we go through this. So here is our first clip. Now you can see up here, it's a pass. Now you're going to get a replay of it. Now you see where our lineman is, okay? So that's probably a little bit more than 3 yards. We probably all agree that this lineman is downfield too far. Now, you're going to say, wait a minute, Tim. I've got a receiver here. I got a receiver here. I've got traffic going on here. I've got a quarterback here. Now, here's the important thing about ineligible downfield. It only happens when that ball leaves the hand. So one of the reasons why we get this wrong a lot is like we used to put this on the umpire. So the umpire would look and see, well, of course, he'll see somebody, he might think those are downfield because didn't see when the ball was released and where the players were at that time. That's the snapshot that has to happen. So from a mechanic standpoint, we all know in 5-person, we're not, our line of scrimmage officials aren't taking off downfield. They're going to hold the line. They're going to pause, read, and react to the play. Well, what is this official up here doing? The official on the weak side, opposite side, the side that's nothing's going on, has the best view of this. Now, a suggestion is that in a 5-person game, when this official sees that the quarterback is rolling away and really becomes backside now, clean up, slide. Slide to that area that you believe is your line for where your linemen are. Or if you're going to help out with the line of scrimmage and you're going to hold, have an idea. Say, all right, I got 3 yards. 2 yards, but 3. So if I see anybody pass this line, when that ball goes in the air, because I can see it all. I can see the quarterback. I can see where the linemen are. This person's going to have the best shot of getting this right. Do you think this umpire is going to have, do you think our umpire even sees where that guy is? And I'm not saying they're doing anything wrong. The mechanics are fine. But the mechanics in 5-person is what puts us sometimes in a disadvantage. So the best person to see this would be this official. Now, unfortunately, nobody sees this, and it ends up being an incomplete pass. So in the end, it doesn't really matter. But that's kind of a way, to walk through it in that regard. Now, where we get in even more trouble these days, it's this thing called the RPO, right? Run pass option. We don't know what they're doing. Linemen don't help us anymore, tell us if it's a pass or a run. It could be either. Plus, they're doing these screens. A lot more screens going on in the game. Now, when we throw a screen in it, things can get even a little bit more goofy because we got people going everywhere. So we're looking at the down. It's 4th down. You can't really see exactly. We're not looking as high as we were before, but you got an idea. Here's our line of scrimmage. So kind of like a big line there. That's what I would be thinking in regards to where our ineligibles, if they got passed, would possibly be committing a foul. Now, you've got trips on this side, so we know this official and the back judge are going to be busy here. Plus, we've got a receiver up here who's starting a fly pattern. So this is going to become extremely difficult to officiate, but if we break it down by piece in real time, it'll be a little bit easier. So right now, you could see if you are the officials, you're reading this. You're reading what's going on. You see what these linemen are doing. You see that this quarterback is rolling out. Our official here is going to have to hold. They're going to have to hold, but they have action going on down as well. So maybe the official down here now may end up becoming backside. We'll see what happens. So now you can see all the action happens up here. Now I'm going to play it for you in real time, and it's kind of interesting what happens on this one. So now, did everybody see where they caught the ball? You're going to get a replay of this in slow motion. All right? So line of scrimmage is important. That's why I was saying sometimes you might slide, sometimes you may not. Because if you could see where this person catches the ball, how far downfield did he catch the ball? So tell me, by rule now, was that pass behind the line of scrimmage? No. So can those linemen be downfield? No. Now, I'm going to play this one more time, and I want to see the really sharp officials in the room, because there's something that happens that changes this, because this should be ineligibles downfield, potentially offensive pass interference, because if you have blocking, but it's close. I'll just say ineligibles downfield. Anybody see what that guy's doing?
Tip ball.
tip ball. So, right, what does it do now? This changes everything, right? Because, let's see, we're going to stop it right where the ball is tipped. If it's tipped right there. So if it's tipped right here, what does that do to our rule now? Everybody's eligible, and nobody can be illegally downfield. So, by that tip, this gets this team off the hook.
Does it matter if it's offensive, defensive?
It doesn't, at this point, it does matter. So if you have offense, if offense touches it, but if they touch it here, we're okay. Then they're still okay because they caught it at or behind the line of scrimmage. So at this point, it doesn't matter in this particular play. Other times it does, but I don't want to kind of get into that too deep into the woods there. But here, by this player touching the ball, it takes all of that off. So that's why it's important. And I, as an official, would need to know on the line of scrimmage where this happens. Because let's say that tip doesn't happen, okay? Let's say the tip doesn't happen. So now, if I catch the ball here, we have to have a flag on the ground. We have to, if we don't have the tip. So now, let's go back. If this official or the official down here, I'm not saying line judge or headlines because it could be what half, I don't know. So we'll just say that the two line of scrimmage officials, if they threw a flag on this, which they could very easily do, they may not have seen the umpire do that. That's when we have to come together as a crew, discuss it, and say, all right, we're going to pick up that flag. You have to understand this, though, everybody as a crew, because I guarantee you, one of the coaches is not going to understand this. So you have to have the knowledge to be able to explain it to them, hopefully our line of scrimmage officials, because our referee isn't going to always have time to come over and try to explain a call like this. So that's why it's important this is a crew call. Even the back judge might get involved in this one because if there was blocking downfield. So just know that this is with 5, this is extremely difficult, but if you break it down and you hold your mechanics and you're able to progress through each part of the play, you'll get this right more than you'll get it wrong. Yeah. So if I understand it, if you're saying we should have a flag down regardless of the tip, is that what you're saying? I just want to understand.
Yes, if the tip didn't happen.
If the tip didn't happen.
If it did not happen, we should have a flag.
Correct. Absolutely.
We have made the statement that when it touches it, we should have a flag.
So yeah, if he doesn't tip this ball, we should have had a flag here. Yeah.
Tim, what if you have I'll talk about philosophy now.
Okay.
You have a blown screen pass.
Okay.
The screen pass guy just goes over his head. He was going to get it. All linemen are downfield because they just take a screen pass.
Hold your thought. Hold your thought. Hold that thought. We're going to get to that one. Maybe. We'll see. We will. All right. So now, same thing. I'm showing the screen thing because this is one of those, it falls into that ineligible downfield category that we're looking at, but it's one of those that catches us by surprise. I mean, I've seen a couple college games this year where this was completely blown. Guy was 3 yards downfield, catches the ball, and nobody throws a flag. Division I college football. So understand that this does happen because it surprises us.
Was it Preston's game?
Shh. No. Preston's a referee. He doesn't know. He's got 11. All right. Here we go. So this is what we got on this play. Now, same thing. You can see our lineman. It's setting up for a screen. Now look where this player catches the ball. And you're going to get a replay. You're going to get a replay of it. So here it goes again. You can see where our line of scrimmage is. It's the 39. So we'll see where he catches the ball.
Linemen are more than 3 yards downfield.
All right.
Right at the 40.
So here's what we've got. We see where we got the ball. Now, this is one of those where if you are not 100% sure, meaning this one looks pretty clear, but if you're screened, like you're up here and you didn't see exactly where he caught the ball or touched the ball, okay, you're not 100%, then it was at the line of scrimmage. We're not going to split the hair on that and have the best eyes in the game. The first one we showed, obviously clear enough, clear as day beyond. And if you know the call, you make the call. So if you know they are clearly beyond and you've got that, then you make the call. If you have any doubt, if you're like, oh, that was so close, please do not make that call. Because it happens so fast, you might find out that you actually were, by the time he was right at the line when he caught the ball. But by the time you processed it, you had him a yard or two beyond. So you need to be 100% on this one. Make it be there. Make it be big on this. And you know what? It'll show up on film and you'll be supported. And you'll be like, hey, good job. You got that one. Cool? All right, we'll move on to our next one here. So here's another one. So we're going to look at our linemen. Now look where our line of scrimmage is. This is a big line. So we've got 20. We've got the 20. So this will help us in determining what we have here. All right, we're going to see it. We're going to get a replay of it. So look at our linemen. You can see where our linemen are. All right, when the ball is thrown, our line of scrimmage is 20. Where are those?
76 is at 3 yards.
They're at like 2.5, maybe 2.
He was at 3.
By a show of hands, how many have this as ineligible downfield? Oh, good. Thank goodness. Because this is one of those where you don't want to call this. Because even if you didn't have the little extra yard that the SNOA is doing, they're right at 2. You don't want to split a hair on this. Okay? These guys aren't gaining an advantage. This isn't a busted play. They're not going down to try to block. They were blocking, stayed at that 2-yard expanded neutral zone, and we move on. We go to our next play. This is one of those where you don't want, and the reason why I show it is because you saw what you saw what the umpire did. And I'm not trying to bash any officials or anything like this because this is a very difficult call. But look where the umpire is. Now see when the umpire looks, this is what I'm talking about. When he looks now, he's saying, oh, I got guys downfield. But the umpire's in a terrible position to see this. I mean, back in the day, we put this on the umpire. We were wrong. So umpires, I apologize to you in the room that you were responsible for this because this is a very, very, very difficult call. The line of scrimmage officials really have to get this. Now you're going to say, come on, Tim, I'm a line of scrimmage official. You're going to give me one more thing to do? Yep, sorry. That's what it is. Line of scrimmage officials, and I refereed. I've worked every position on the field, and I refereed a couple state finals, and I also worked the line of scrimmage, and I am telling you, line of scrimmage officials, that's one of the most difficult things. Referees look great, and they're the ones who get blamed when something goes wrong. So they have that responsibility. That's their hard part. But actually controlling the game, when I was a college referee, if I had crappy line of scrimmage officials, I had a bad game. So just know that yes, we're putting this on you, line of scrimmage officials, but that's just, especially in a 5-person game, that's just what we're going to have to do. Yeah, we got a question back here.
I'm a rookie official, Terry Walsh. So I heard you say earlier the neutral zone is 3 yards, or is it 2 or 3?
So the rule book says the expanded neutral zone can expand up to 2 yards. That's right out of the book. The SNOA, their standard, well, we're not calling them philosophies anymore. We're calling them officiating standard. That's it. I couldn't get it. So the SNOA officiating standard is, yes, it's still 2 yards, but we're going to make sure by saying 3 yards. That's why. So that way it makes sure that call is correct. So out of the book it says 2 yards, but the standard is asking everybody in here to go to 3 just to make sure we're 100%. So like on a play like this, we don't accidentally throw our flag when we probably shouldn't have. So does that answer your question? Yes. Perfect. Good question, though. Thank you. All right, here's another fun one. Another fun one for our line of scrimmage officials. I want you to watch this guy right here. And just so you can see, it's kind of tough. There is a tight end. That's a tight end. And I want you to look at the quarterback. This is hilarious. I love this play. It's kind of funny, actually. So look what the quarterback is doing, and look what the guy's telling him. He's like, no. I'm supposed to be on the line. And then what happens? All right, so replay of this. You could see, well, it's just a still. He is covering the tight end. You know, this is one of those we miss a lot too, because we're not expecting it. Now, here's the funny thing. This is a completely legal formation. So there's a difference. This is a completely legal formation. There's nothing wrong with this. They can run this formation all day. Where we get the problem, going back to the beginning, is when the problem starts, which I think it's funny because the quarterback knows he's wrong. He's trying to fix them or do something. This is, so nothing. Now, once that ball crosses the neutral zone, crosses the line of scrimmage, now we have a foul. That's when this becomes illegal because the formation was fine. You could cover up as many as you want. But once that receiver goes downfield, now we have an issue. Now I'm going to throw a wrinkle. This did not happen in this play, but I'm just going to throw a wrinkle and say this, let's say this guy was the guy who was covered and catches the ball. So we start out with this, and now we just elevated this foul to this. And now, get this. Please, this is important because the enforcement for this is different. The one is a previous spot foul and 5 yards, replay the down because it was a loose ball play. This one is also a loose ball play for illegal touching, but we have a special thing that says illegal touching is a loss of down. So that changes this one if that was your cover. Now, he wasn't, but I'm just saying if that was your covered receiver. Here's the third one that I heard about. And I don't know if I would go this route or anyway, if I were you, but intentional grounding. Did the quarterback throw to an area without an eligible receiver? Look, I'm telling you not to go that. Please don't go that route. Please don't go that route. But there are some, it's what I like to call rule hawks. There are some rule hawks that will say there is not an eligible receiver. The quarterback threw to an area not occupied by an eligible receiver. Thus, not only is it eligible downfield, it's illegal touching, it just then elevated even to intentional grounding. What was that? No, I'm saying this guy did not catch the ball, but I'm just saying that this guy is a guy who's ineligible. But I was just saying we were just adding that. So here's the thing. I don't disagree with that at all. That is my philosophy. He's not under duress. But if you look at the rule in high school, it says or. It doesn't say and. And that's the problem. Words mean things. I don't disagree. Please don't call this intentional grounding. But I'm just telling you, be ready to diffuse it if somebody says something to you. You know the rule. You got to know the rule to massage the rule. But I just want to know, somebody might come up to you and say, that's intentional grounding. I had a similar play where I had, in the nation, we get rule hawks. I had a guy email me and say, that's intentional grounding. And I'm like, okay, you want to be a pioneer? Call it intentional grounding. Because I couldn't argue technically the rule, but I said that from a game management side of things. You're already doing a loss of down. You're already going to the previous spot. I would just leave it at that. But it's just something to think about. Yeah. So there, the other thing was OPI. Here's the other thing is that it doesn't matter in this regard. If anybody was blocking while the play was in the air, or the offense, it would be OPI. So the fact that he's ineligible or not, that doesn't matter, because if you're blocking downfield during this play, during the pass play, you're going to have OPI. So that one, wouldn't really matter in that regard. All right.
Was the guy that caught the ball the outside receiver?
No, he was, yeah. what happened there, that play as it started would just be this because that player did not. I wanted to point that out just from a teaching standpoint if that happened. All right, so here's one that I want to show you where this is where I talk about wing official. Now, what ends up happening, this is actually really good, and it's kind of interesting because there's a lot going on here. You can see the quarterback is rolling out, okay, and then look at this guy right there. All right, so watch what happens. So it just so happens that the H, this was all in the frame of the view. It just worked out. Saw the pass, saw the receiver, saw that, and then threw the flag for the ineligible downfield. Now, here's the thing. On a play like this, let me show you again. On a play like this, who would have had the best look at it? It just so happened that this, like I said, this official happened to, this all was in their frame of view. This, and this. But really, that official would probably be the best to see this. But this is, if you can do this, you're top, you're elite. But because it worked out, pass, right in his line of view, to here, and quarterback. Called it ineligible downfield. That's what we're looking for because our umpire would not probably have a good, has an idea, but doesn't really know. All right, now, here's to the play we were talking, that somebody asked about earlier. All right, look what's going to happen here. So you can see the quarterback is just, you see where everybody's at. You see the ball went downfield. You see the ball's being released. It's frozen there. Going back to the beginning of it. All right, overthrew the receiver, right? All right, how many, seriously, we're all friends here. Nobody's wrong. How many would go ineligibles downfield on this? We got 1, 2. How many, I guess the rest of you would not. Now, here's the thing. How many coaches are going to be screaming ineligibles downfield on this one? Probably all of them, okay? So I'll ask Doug from a officiating standard for the SNOA. What's the officiating standard for the SNOA on a play like this, Doug?
It's an incomplete pass. We don't want a foul on this. We do not want ineligibles downfield on this. It's an incomplete pass. The same thing if he's rolling out of the pocket and legally grounds the ball, right? We're not going to have an ineligible downfield.
Yeah, he was moving around. There was a question about free blocking zone because then is he throwing away under duress? But remember, this was nice and easy. They got the NFL lines, which are pretty close here because it's an NFL field. Down, he's out. I don't care if he comes back. He's out. Out is out. So there's a good question. All right, so any questions on the ineligibles downfield? But you could see how this is it can be difficult in regards to how we officiate it, but if you take your time and know the rule, see, that's the important thing, is if you know the rules, then you're able to explain it if you're going to pass on something, or if you do call it, then you do it with basis, because you know, you saw it, you make the call, you know the call. You know the call, you make the call. There are a lot of good college clips out there that high school officials can learn from, but I get it. You want to see plays from your games, your type of games. But that being said, the philosophy that was started however many years ago in regards to pass interference and having a category, that is a great tool for you. Whether you work college or have any ambitions to work college or never worked a college game in your life, to use those terms, hook and turn, not playing the ball, going through the early contact, not playing the ball, things like that help you put it in a bucket, then it's so much easier to explain not only to your crew, but to a coaching staff. When you walk up to them and use an officiating term, coach, he hooked and turned him. Oh, okay. Now they have a tangible thing they can say instead of, it's DPI, coach. He got there early. Well, what did he do when he got there early? So these are always good things to use. If you could put it in a category, it will just help you explain it and also help your mind in determining when you see plays like this, if you're going to elevate it to a foul. So just think about that as we're going through some of these. So our first play, I'm just going to run it, and then I'm just going to ask by a show of hands. I usually have Slido, but it wasn't working today for some reason, because that's anonymous. So I want to know by a show of hands, DPI. Okay, that's a majority. I'm just going to assume that the rest of you don't. All right, so here we go. So first thing, we're going to be looking for the category. Well, first this is what I like to start out with. Let's start out with mechanics, because we all have to know where we're looking. All right, so we've got a receiver up here. We've got a slot receiver. We've got a slot receiver here and a slot receiver here. He's kind of tight, though. So if I'm looking at this, strength of formation. Strength of formation is going to come down to the bottom here. All right, so where's our back judge going? Now, it shouldn't matter. We've got green between. So at the snap, all of us are going to zone, okay? Because we're not going to have anything to officiate when the ball is snapped. No?
One more time. Say exactly what you just said one more time.
All right, we have green between. There's nothing to officiate here at the snap with the receivers because they're going to be running in space. We will be officiating air. So we have to now find work. We then have to move on to our next thing. We're going to go to zone right away, meaning that our line of scrimmage officials are going to see what happens, who comes into their area, and our back judge is going to have to see who comes into their area. Because right off the snap, nothing's going to happen. But we still want to know this. We want to know what's going on. Here's the other thing. Umpires and referees, you also have to recognize this. And the reason why is this one is easy. But if you had like a trips formation and then 2 up to the top, so you've got 5 receivers in the pattern, you're not going to get any help from your line judge or your H on the tackles because they're going to be in pass coverage probably right away. So even umpires and referees have to recognize formations and say, oh, the trips are to this side, I'm probably not going to get help on that tackle. It's just something to be aware of. All right, so let's roll through this again. And now when the ball, now the other thing is that high school quarterbacks, 98% of high school quarterbacks will tell you where they're throwing the ball. They're going to look at that receiver. So I'm not saying stare at the quarterback, but use the quarterback to help you put your vision in the right spot. Don't want to stare. We want to know. If I'm this line of scrimmage official and I see this quarterback kind of looking down here, I'm probably going to be kind of going back and forth. I'm watching this, but it's going to happen over here. If I'm the back judge, I have this fly guy. I don't want to forget about him, but I'm probably thinking over here. That's just me. So here we go. Now we're going to roll through it. So now we're locked and loaded. When we're locked and loaded, we know that it's going to be over here. We know this is not an issue anymore. So if I was a back judge, I'm going to be coming this way. If I'm this official, which you can see, can anybody see where this official's looking? Probably not a good spot, okay? I probably would want to kind of be going back and forth. And maybe we're catching them on the other one, but we want to concentrate on now what's going on downfield because that quarterback is getting ready to throw the ball. Now he is. Now look what happens. Who's going to have the best angle on this? Probably the back judge is not, because the back judge is looking over the top, unless they've got a good read on it and they're looking from the inside out, but probably looking through it. They're not going to see this. Our L, or who's ever working this position, is probably going to have the best view of this. So when we roll it through, we have to ask ourselves, is that enough of a material restriction to affect the receiver's route? That's the question I'm asking. That is where the judgment comes in. I don't care if you're going to call this or not, okay? I don't care. But if you better be looking at it the right way, meaning that this official is going to look at this and maybe some help from the back judge and be able to make the decision, did the contact affect the route? Meaning that, did they take Did they take a step away? Did they take a part of their movement away? Did they restrict their movement? If you've got yes on that, guess what you have? A flag. If you don't think so, going back and running it in real time, if you believe that this receiver had every opportunity and that this didn't stop him, this didn't slow him down, then you're not. Now, personally, Tim Kiefer, my judgment on this one, you got DPI. Because you saw when he went up there with the ball, he got that little, receivers want to catch normally the ball with two hands. And he did get the second hand up there, but it was delayed. Why was that second hand delayed? Probably because he got the yank. Okay? So, I would be okay with a DPI on this. But how you get there is the more important, whether you say yes or no. Is everybody cool with that? All right. So let's move to our next one. All right, let's go back to the beginning. We're going to find out where everybody's looking. All right, so this is a competitive matchup. So this official might be watching this off the snap. This official hasn't anything going to happen off the snap. So this official's probably going to be challenged. Now you can look, it's a tight end. Back judge is probably going to be challenged too, potentially. Okay? So we know where we're all going right at the snap. Now remember, they call it keys and priorities, but it's really initial priority at the snap. And what that means is that initially I'm going to look there, but then I'm going to move on and officiate the play. Because here's the thing about mechanics. Mechanics are there to put you in the right position to start, based off of history, based off of where everybody else is on the field. But at the end of the day, the most important thing is to officiate the play. And if you said, hey, I've got great mechanics, I had my guy the whole way down while the guy is doing nothing and something else happens right in front of you, but you said, hey, I was doing right mechanics. That's not the best argument. Mechanics are important. You need to know them. But they're a good starting point. At the end, officiate the play. So here we go. Now, we're going to see what happens on this one. Now, luckily, this particular game had 7 officials, but looking at it, here's our replay. So back to what we were saying earlier. Grab and restrict, probably, right? But did it take away a step? Did it have a material advantage? Did it restrict the movement of the receiver? So if we can answer yes to all of those, we probably have DPI. But you could say, Tim, and you know what? Looking at it on a film is really easy to do. When we're actually out there doing it in real time, sometimes it's not, we don't process it as fast as we need to. But the reason we're doing this is so we get practice in processing. And if you can answer those questions pretty quickly, you'll be able to make a judgment on a call like this, whether you're going to throw your flag or not. And on one like this, I think there should be a flag. 3 minutes? Wow, I got 3 minutes, man.
And real fast, how many categories are there for DPI?
Very good.
How many categories for OPI? 4. Okay. Can't you have all 10? Should be a non-sportsmanlike. No, but can't you have all 10?
All right, well, let me get to some OPI plays here real quick. So, because we got... All right, I want everybody to focus up here. Because, well, let me go back here real quick, okay? This is a goal line play, five officials. OPI is going to happen here. It's going to happen within 20 yards, the red zone. That's where your majority OPIs are. So if you are thinking OPI here, that's what you should be. Now, also short yardage if you got like a 4th and short or something like that. But down here, think OPI because this is where it's going to happen. So here you go. Here's our next play. It's going to happen up there. So you're going to get a replay of this. Now, we have to ask ourselves, was this intentional? Is this player creating a block to free the other player? There are some people who are going to say, no, he was just running a pattern because they teach that. That guy, I don't think he did it very well because he didn't throw up his hands. Here it is again. He kind of bumps him. I got an OPI there. That's me. I think this is enough. This created separation for the player who was sneaking out there. And he is not running a route. He did not throw his hands up. Now, let's look at our next one.
Can I ask real fast on that?
Yeah.
So the receiver splits the defender and the potential kicker. So does the pick happen after the guy gets through? Or does he gain an advantage off of the pick and is set free?
I don't think
Well, it should matter because it's got to create an advantage, right? So if I don't gain an advantage by that pick, by the foul, it's like throwing a holding foul 5 yards beyond the end of the run, and it's not a takedown. So what is the advantage? What did this receiver gain off this action? Because every foul has to create an advantage. It has to. If he's already beyond it, there's no advantage.
So the question becomes now, if you're looking at this defender, was the defender playing that man? And if you don't think he is, and you just think that this is just incidental contact or whatever, fine. But if you believe that the offense, see the thing is on PI, the offense is restricted at the snap, the defense is restricted when the ball goes in the air. So if you say that this was an intentional act to create the space, then fine. If you go, Doug's absolutely right too. If you think that this player was not having anything to do with this guy and it had nothing to do with this play, then that's fine too. That's your judgment. But here's the thing. If you're going to make that judgment, understand why and see the whole play and be able to explain that. Be able to say, well, it had no effect on the play or whatever it might be. All right, we'll show one more real quick and then we'll do the position breakouts. All right, it's going to happen again up here. You're going to get a replay of it. Similar type play. It's close to the goal line. Watch what our guy does here. Now, that's a little bit different, right? That's a little bit different, right? So just something to consider on that. And on that, I'm going to call it a day, guys. So thank you so much for having me.